Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chris here today with a new time and technique video. Today we're going to be doing something just a tad bit different today. Today we're going to be working on some beautiful St. Louis style ribs I picked up today. And we're going to start off with a pretty simple and basic rib rub. It's going to start out with some shredded up guajillo chilies, about 10 of those. Then we're going to go ahead and add some our chipotle pepper chilies. Then we're going to add some 2 tablespoons of cumin. And then we're going to follow that with 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. And then we're going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. Then a half a tablespoon of celery seed, 2 tablespoons of smoked pepper, 2 tablespoons of salt. Then we're going to finish that all off with 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I actually found after I made this that it was a little bit too salty, so I went ahead and added 2 extra tablespoons of brown sugar. And we're going to go ahead and give this a quick blitz in our NutriBullet here just to make sure it's all incorporated and grinded together. And then as soon as this is done, we're going to go ahead and get started on our fresh barbecue sauce. What I would recommend every time you use a knife, make sure that you always hone your knife. Always retain that blade. So next, what we're going to do, we're going to take 1 whole onion and you're going to go ahead and dice that as small as possible. Yes, I repeat, 1 whole onion. Because what we're going to do, we're going to caramelize this onion, and it's going to lose the majority of its moisture. When you're going to be left with is a beautiful and sweet onion combo, pretty much. You're going to go ahead and add 4 tablespoons of butter into your pan. Make sure it's nice and melted and bubbly. You're going to go ahead and add in your onions, and make sure they're all coated in this butter mixture. The best thing you can do, though, is make sure you cook it at about a very, not so too low of a flame, because if you risk charring and burning these onions if you cook it way too hot, and you just want to remove as much moisture as possible without the risk of burning these onions, because in the end you're going to be left with something very delicate and very beautiful. And the more and more I cooked it, the flavor started to develop more, the color started to change. It turns into this beautifully dark and golden brown color. It's perfect for barbecue sauce. Next, I went ahead and added in 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Made sure all of it was incorporated into the onion mixture. Went ahead after that, added in 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Made sure it was all mixed in, no lumps. Then I went ahead and added in 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 cup of pineapple juice. Then I added 1 cup of ketchup. Made sure everything was mixed in. Then I added in 1/4 a cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of our rib rub, and then 1/4 cup of Valentina hot sauce, one of my favorites, especially if you're Mexican, you know what I'm talking about. Viva la raza. After simmering for a good 30 minutes low and slow, I had to say I was pretty surprised at how fucking delicious this came out. So many beautiful flavors coming together from just a simple yellow onion to just elevate everything. Then I went ahead and pulled out my big ass smoking gun. I went ahead and added in some cherry wood chips to make sure this all came just perfect together. I really have to say cherry wood is one of my favorite woods to smoke with. Fortunately, I could not find any the other day when I went to Lowe's. I literally went to Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. None of them had cherry wood. So I was pretty much stuck with apple and pecan, but they're both still some very flavorful woods, especially if you're like a first timer like myself trying to start making some good barbecue. In the end, this barbecue sauce came out extremely well. The color was like caramel sauce, as you can see. It's delicious. I went ahead and fired up my grill. Went ahead and took these little incinerator cube things. I don't know what they are really. They light pretty fast though, I have to say. Went ahead and put my chimney on top filled with lump charcoal. As soon as that was all heated up for about 15 minutes, I dumped it out to one corner. Added in my pecan and apple wood chips. Made sure to preheat those. Now on to the best part, the ribs. I mean, that's the whole reason we're making this video. We're gonna go ahead and remove this thin membrane on the back of these ribs. It's about around the bones. It's really not gonna break down when you cook it, so I would recommend always removing it. Don't be like people that just cut them, it doesn't help. What you want to go ahead and do is pull out some mustard of your choice. I'm using Dijon mustard, just my personal preference. What it's actually going to do is help break down that muscle fibers and tissues, make sure it all starts rendering down that fat as well. It also adds an additional amount of flavor. Next, go ahead and bust out that homemade rib rub. Just looking all how proud you are, how far you've made it so far in this video. Make sure to leave about an even coating of rib rub. Don't be like me, how I screwed up halfway through this and had little chunks of it everywhere and tried to pat it down. It helped in the end, but either way, try to get it as even as possible. You're trying to just cover it. You're not trying to bury it in rib rub. It's a little goes a long way. Next, you want to go ahead and throw those on the grill. Make sure you put it on the opposite side of the flame. You're not trying to char them, you're trying to smoke them. I went ahead and probed mine. Be sure to cook them about 185, 190, and make sure to keep a constant temperature of 250 degrees for at least 3 hours. And just be sure every hour to go ahead and spritz your ribs like I did here in this part with your apple and orange juice mixture. Actually helps bring out all those flavors and actually builds another layer of flavor on your ribs. Okay guys, so it's been 3 hours now. The ribs are looking good. We're gonna go ahead and move this flame over to the middle. We're gonna go ahead and char the ribs to my desired liking. Brush them on, make sure it's all evenly distributed, and just pull them off, let them rest. And then what you're gonna go ahead and do is just slice them boys up, because I mean, they were super tender. Talk about delicious, beautiful smoke ring as you're about to see here, cutting like butter. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of difficult to cut it because it was still kind of hot and I really couldn't see the bones. I should know what I'm doing. I work at a barbecue restaurant, for Christ's sakes. But I have to say, these ribs were delicious. The amount of smokiness from the apple and pecan mixture mixed in with the sweet heat of the barbecue and the rib rub, the bit of caramelized sugar that was left on the outer layer of the rib meat. It was just to die for. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed another episode of Time and Technique. We're going to go ahead and end this one. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And be sure to leave a comment if you have any ideas for the next video. Really appreciate all your support. Thank you.